All right, I got Zach Lee, another professional arm wrestler. Is that accurate?
Yes, sir.
All right, cool. So before this, we were saying that you are a prison guard, right?
Yep.
Hey, yeah, isn't Dave Chafee a prison guard too?
Yeah, he works in Erie. I think he's at the county one. He's at one of the really bad county prisons in Erie.
Yeah, he looks like you don't want to mess with him.
Nah. Dave's one of the nicest guys I ever met. Probably one of the most respectful people I ever met. But telling you, man, that man puts hands on you, you're in trouble.
Yeah, you know what's funny is those are the most respected and likable guys. So there's a reason why people. I actually figured this out. Right, there's a reason why people love Paul Lynde so much, right? And from what I could tell, it's the same reason that people love Joe Rogan so much. So what I mean by that is he's got full control over his emotions, right?
Yes.
And he's very nice and very respectful, but you know that there is a monster down there somewhere and you do not want to bring him out. So to men, it's respectful, and to women, it's like they love him.
Yes.
Right.
And actually it's funny. It's funny you mentioned that. Me and Paul Lynde just had this talk. Me and Paul were talking, and we had the same ideas and stuff. Me and Paul are talking. He's like, Zach, just because we're both nice guys doesn't mean that we're pussies.
No, it's the truth. And it takes a very intuitive man to figure it out. An intuitive person to figure it out, because on the same thing with Joe Rogan, right? You watch Joe Rogan, he never gets into an argument.
Absolutely.
He never gets into an argument on his podcast. You can come on his podcast and say the craziest things, and he goes with the flow.
Yes.
But deep down that if you fuck with him, that the monster's going to come out. Yeah, exactly. Same thing with Paul Lynde, guaranteed, and same thing with Dave Chafee. And I think a lot of the arm wrestlers, the guys that can't control their emotions, it's more like fly off the handle kind of guys, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, and it's more fear than respect, if you will.
Yeah, and honestly, if you ask anybody about me, I'm a very emotional puller. I do get heated, but even my opponents that I have beat, and anybody that comes to the side table, anybody that asks me for help, I will help anybody.
Right.
I've been to Todd Hutchings. I've helped anybody that needs it, even people that are my biggest opponents. I will help. I show them stuff that I probably shouldn't at the time. But that's just who I am. To make me get to the point where I have to blow up, you bought it.
Yeah. Right. All right. So this past weekend was a huge tournament, the Keystone States. This is the 5th annual Keystone State. I actually had Madison Walker, who won the women's, and I actually had Paul Talbot.
Yes, Steve's daughter.
I'm sorry?
Yes. Steve's daughter. Very promising young woman.
Yeah.
She's going to be amazing.
And you know what she told me? Because she's still in college. So she comes home from college and she trains for between 2 and 4 weeks and jumps into a tournament and she wins. And I'm like, that's pretty amazing.
Well, listen, her dad is one of my very good friends, Steve.
Yeah.
And he's actually an ex-corrections officer. He's one of the nicest, badass people you ever meet. He's a super hype guy. Everybody, you could be in a room full of 1,000 people. He yells, you know exactly where he's at.
Yeah. I actually had both of them at the same time on my show, like the father-daughter. Yeah, really, really nice. I got to say, the majority of arm wrestlers that I've interviewed, really, really down to earth, nice guys. Most of them have to work. And out of all three niche men's sports, if you will, niche power sports rather, the bodybuilders, powerlifters, arm wrestlers are clearly the nicest guys, the most down to earth, have the most camaraderie, and clearly the bodybuilders are the worst. That just goes without saying. So you entered
I'm sorry.
No.
Arm wrestling is a very small community. We're a miniature family. So literally, I know people from all over the world and all over the East Coast, West Coast. You can never see someone in person from the West Coast, meet them from California for the first time, and be friends with them and never meet them just because you're both arm wrestlers.
Yeah.
Like that's what I love about the sport. And that's what makes it great. In my eyes, like any other sport, you really don't have that, like fighting and stuff.
Do not.
I fought MMA, and when you fight people, you're like, I don't want to be your friend. I want to punch you in the face.
Right. Yeah. Until afterwards, if there's the respect is built. Yeah. I've always was into bodybuilding, and if I could go back in time, and I competed a bunch of times, if I can go back and change, if somebody had introduced me to arm wrestling, I would have went in that direction 100%. Because I've made no real friends in bodybuilding because there's just no camaraderie. It's a very selfish, self-centered sport. It has to be because it revolves around you and only you,
Listen, a lot of people don't understand bodybuilding is extremely hard and very mentally tough on yourself as well.
It is. So it's like you're pushing everybody away. So anyway, so this past weekend was the 2022 Keystone States. Like I said, I had Madison Walker on, and then I had Paul Talbot, who was also one of the champions. So I had those two guys. How did you do? Because I know you were there competing.
Right-handed, I got second. I lost. I lost on a foul in the finals. Left-handed, I won. I won first left-handed. Right-handed, as you know, there's probably a lot of hype, a lot of talk about the right-handed class between me and Travis. Right. Very, very interesting day on the right-handed side.
Yeah, we're gonna get into that, but first I want to talk about how good of a puller you are and your background and reputation, and then we'll get into all that crap. So you win left-handed, or you come in second left-handed rather. Okay.
No, I won left, got second.
You were left,
right.
second right. I apologize. Okay, so you won left, second right. What weight class was that?
154.
Oh, okay. Is there a lot? I gotta assume there's a lot of competition in a weight class.
Yeah, when the lighter guys, like I'm a 176 guy. Mm-hmm. Normally, I walk around between 170, 175. Mm-hmm. I chose to cut to 54 because I thought a certain somebody was coming to arm wrestle. Mm-hmm. They did not show up, but I cut a lot of weight for it. I regret cutting all that weight for it.
Okay.
I probably won't cut that weight again unless there's money involved.
Right. And
what's that?
And how tall are you, Zach?
I'm only 5'7".
Okay. All right. Yeah. So I'm like about an inch taller than you. Okay.
I'm not a naturally 154 guy.
Okay. So you did pretty damn good. Let's put it that way. Yeah. So you won left-handed, came in second at right-handed. So you did pretty damn good. Have you ever competed at the Keystone States before, or this was the first time?
No, I think I've competed in every year that they've had it.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
And have you ever done the WAL or any other worlds or anything like that? You've done WAL.
Yep. Yeah, I've been to the Vegas every time they've had it. I've been to Chicago. Like every big WAL event that they've had, I've went to.
And how'd you do in those?
Pretty consistent. The very first WAL when they had it in Vegas for the tournament style, I think was in 15. I think. Mm-hmm. I think it was. I think I got 12th. I think there was like 60 some freaking people in my class.
Yeah, that's pretty good, man. Yeah. A lot of people don't realize. You say 12th, but out of almost 70 people, that's pretty damn good.
Yeah. I weighed in 141 pounds.
Yeah, I mean, listen, and I went to one arm wrestling practice. I went to two arm wrestling practices. It's really between work and my podcast, it just takes up too much time, and I'm not giving up the podcast because I like doing it too much. And most of the guys were small guys. There's only maybe 2 or 3 really big dudes. Most of the guys were in sort of like maybe your weight class. There was only 1 or 2 guys that were monsters, that were big dudes. And it makes sense because statistically, if you go down the size of men in the country, only a very small percentage are over 6 foot or over 250 pounds, But anyway, I'm getting off the topic. So you're a well-established arm wrestler for the last, 10, 12 years or so.
Yeah, I've been arm wrestling since I was 15.
Okay.
Yeah, I've been arm wrestling a lot.
All right. And you are a prison guard and you have an MMA background.
Yes.
How long have you been training MMA?
I don't train it anymore. I teach it a little bit on the side to certain people. But I arm wrestle full time now. I quit fighting probably 3 years ago. So it was something that I wrestled in high school and college, and I needed something to take over the competitive sport. So I went straight into fighting, and arm wrestling was sort of always there. And then I just put fighting off and just kicked it into high gear with arm wrestling, and it's been like that ever since.
Well, it's probably a smarter move. I mean, listen, nobody wants to mess with a fighter, but I would say, I mean, I don't know. I did jujitsu as a kid, very limited, you know. I would say that arm wrestling is probably more fun camaraderie with the guys. Everybody just kind of want to get you drunk. You know, and you don't have to worry about brain damage or anything like that, you know.
Oh, that's the key right there.
If you get a chance, I'll actually send it to you. I don't know if you know who he is. I interviewed a professional fighter. He has a wrestling and boxing background. He wrestled and boxed professionally, and then he also did MMA. He never got to the UFC, but now he does this underground street fighting. What the hell is his name? I got to find out what his name is. But I'll find it out. I'll send it to you. It was amazing. And as soon as the guy comes up on the screen,
as soon
as this guy comes up on the screen, and when I interviewed him, you go, "Oh, this guy's not playing with a full deck. He's off." Anyway, he fights. He fights. I can't remember his name. Eric Olson. That's it, Eric Olson. He's from Long Island.
Oh yeah.
Now he lives in the UK. Yeah, now he lives in the UK, and he fights. Eric Olson actually knows Mike Aiello, because I think they grew up in the same area.
Yeah,
Long Island.
Mike's a good dude.
Yeah. So he works. He lives in the UK and he fights in Europe, and now he fights in these underground illegal fighting one-on-one, not tournaments, but they're one-on-one. And I asked him if it was okay. He said, as long as we don't talk about who runs it, we could talk about it. I said, okay, no problem, because obviously it's not the Cub Scouts running it, right?
Exactly.
So, yeah. So no problem. So he fights underground, no rules, no time limit, no rounds. You can't tap out. You can't quit. The only way that somebody wins is if somebody gets knocked out, or either their corner or the promotion stops it. So you can't. So you can't tap out. And this guy won. I mean, I interviewed him a couple of months ago. He might have fought since then, but he won his last fight by gouging the guy's eyes out.
Oh shit!
So instead of
a true street fight, no, there ain't no rules.
It's on. That's what he said, and he said that they fought, and instead of ground and pound, he would ground and gouge your eyes out, right? He said he gouged each.
If that's what it takes to win.
Yeah, he said that he gouged each eye 3 times, and the third time he locked in with both hands. He had his thumbs behind the guy's skull, and that's when the promotion said, "Okay, that's it, it's over," because he was gonna pull his eyes out of his head. And I was like, "Wow,
damn."
Yeah. But anyway, I would much rather be an arm wrestler. But I'll actually send you the interview. It's pretty interesting because the guy's background is a little crazy.
Hell yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, that's insane.
Yeah, it's fucking nuts. Anyway, so you could basically handle yourself if need be. If you had to, you could handle yourself.
Oh yeah. Okay. Listen, I come from a very traditional background. My dad is, old school, no bullying, but taught me how to fight at a very early age. Very nice guy. He's like the local mechanic. Mm-hmm. Do anything for anybody in the town. You need your car fixed, come help. He's got the big bear paws. Nice old guy.
Right.
Always told me, Zach, like, listen, if there's a fight, finish it. If you get your ass kicked, you're gonna get your ass kicked when you get home. Like, type of deal.
Yeah.
But, always make sure you finish it. Very nice guy, but that's just how I was raised. Make sure you always help someone, but if they try and fight you, make sure you win. Because if you don't, and you come home, you're going to get it worse.
Yeah. My father used to say, did you start it or did you finish it? So even if I started, I'd lie to him. Because I don't.
Exactly. You don't ever tell dad that you started. Because then even if you win, you're still getting your ass kicked.
Yeah, exactly. So okay, so let's get into the gossip. So I saw a little bit of video footage, and you were having an argument with the very popular Travis Bayesian.
Yes.
So why don't you explain exactly what happened?
All right. So everybody knows Travis. Everybody knows that Travis on camera and Travis off camera are two different people.
Okay.
Travis off camera is a super cool dude, family man, great dude, actually, like one of the most nicest people you ever meet. But Travis on camera is an egotistical, like selfish fucking asshole, to be nice. Like when there's a camera involved, like Travis is a different person. Okay. And if Travis is getting paid, it's even worse. Like that's the problem with Travis. If there's a camera in there, if you're his best friend on camera, like he'll degrade you to the end of the earth. So Travis was trying to get out of reffing. I don't know whose fucking idea it was to get him to ref, but he wasn't getting paid. So they chose him to referee. Me, my buddy Ice, a bunch of people, we knew the moment they asked him to ref, we were all screwed. Now, I never personally had a trouble with Travis prior to this. So I was like, all right, he's a dickhead when he refs, but we'll be good. So, of course, it was not the case. You know, like the very first match I should have known, my wife knew the moment he set our hands and we closed and I went to close my fingers, he fouled and said, listen, no wonder you're running the East Coast. You're triple capping. We ain't letting you do that shit here today. From that point on, I knew. I just looked up. I said, shit, today's going to be the worst day ever for this tournament. Mm-hmm. And then so I looked at him and I said, Travis, my fingers are too short. I can't triple cap. And he's like, listen, motherfucker, I don't care. It's my table. Just jittering, you know, chatting back and forth. And he fouled me again. Well, then that's 2 fouls. So I had to sit there and wait while the other guy hit me, wet the straps, and I had to pin him nice and easy. Now, the guy I was pulling, Mike Verge, he owns the Harvest Gap Brewery, the place that Travis has all his tournaments at. So Travis kind of has this guy, but Mike doesn't really care for him too much because of how Mike's a quiet dude, owns this brewery, very social dude, but laid back, nice guy. Nothing like Travis. But I think Travis wanted to set the tone like, hey, I'm not going to allow this to happen to you kind of thing. Which, whatever, it's Travis being Travis. I kind of walked that one off. Well, the very next match, I asked Travis, I said, where do you want me to close in order so I don't foul so we can get these matches going? Because as you know, you've watched WL 1,000 times. WL is supposed to be fast, quick, painless. We go so the tournament can keep going. Well, I asked him before the match started, I said, where can I close my finger? I said, can I close it here? He said, no, foul. He fouled me before the match even started. And I was like, whoa, timeout.
Really?
The referee's like, yeah. So then the down ref, Steve, was like, whoa, Travis, what's going on? And I was like, Travis, I'm just trying to show you. He's like, nah, man, don't fucking matter. That's a foul. And I just put my head down, looked at the table, and I was like, oh, man, this is getting bad. So then I set my hand down again. He fouled me again. And I was like, oh, man, like I'm about to lose my temper. And then he starts chatting a little bit. Finally, we said go. I pinned him. The very next match, he does it again. He just keeps fouling me and fouling me. Well, then I'm noticing he's fouling just me. And then he's not fouling anybody else. Well, then he starts getting mad and he starts fouling everybody else. And he just keeps going through this process. So finally, there's I'm sure you've seen the kid with the long blonde hair from Georgia, Cody Wood.
If I see him, maybe I know. I'm not sure.
Yeah, very nice kid from Georgia. We get up there and I said, listen, he fouled me twice before the match even started again. And I said, I want a new referee. He looks at me and says, Zach, I'm getting paid this much fucking money to do this shit. I said, well, then why are you here? He said, "You don't want me to ref?" I said, "No, get the fuck off the table." I said, "You're ruining this tournament." He goes down. Well, instead of leaving, he sits down and down refs. Me and this kid get up. Steve Black takes over reffing. The tournament went super smooth, almost. Travis is still dictating it on the bottom, like calling fouls, calling elbows. Well, it went, I don't know, a couple more matches. Travis is still fouling people from the down ref position, which he's not supposed to. The head ref is taking over. Steve did a great job taking over. Like, the tournament was starting to go smooth.
I know Steve. I had him on. I met him, been to his tournament. Great guy, really nice guy.
Me and Steve are really close. He's a great dude.
Yeah.
Steve's doing a great job. Like, really does. And Steve's the kind of person where he doesn't want no one to foul out. Steve's old school. Steve's been doing it a long time as well. He just wants everybody to pull and just arm wrestle. He's not about this finesse crap. He just wants you to close fingers, and just go. Well, Travis is still fouling people out, and Steve is like starting to get a little frustrated and stuff as well. Well, I get up with John Hanoski, which is another good dude. We've been friends for a long time. We've had some ups and downs, but we go to close, he fouls me from the down ref position. So I'm like, oh, man, come on. So then finally we slip. We go to Stratton. I'd already lost the match to John earlier from Travis sticking me way under and not letting me set my grip. So I was already irritated. Well, Travis fouls me. We get to a strap. I pin John very, very, very easy. I had to beat him twice. So we go to another set grip. Whenever they set me down underneath, my wrist is whole weight dumped. I rotate out, pronate out. I go to slip backwards. Travis calls it a bail and says I slipped out underneath. Well, a slip is 10 and 2. So when I slipped out like this and pronated out, they called it a bail. Travis tried to override Steve because you can see Steve's face saying, like, he didn't know which way to give his arm and go to the straps or not. Travis says loss, and then I complain, and I set my arm up on the table. Travis on the down ref calls me. He says, "Stop bitching, stop being a pussy, and get off the table." I look at him, and I said, "Shut the fuck up."
Right.
And then he stands up, and he's like, "Fuck you." And I said, "No, fuck you." And then we start banter back and forth, and I go to walk off the stage, and I'm walking off, and you can see me on the film. I walk off. As I'm walking off, he starts chattering and just yelling like a nut. Now, you've probably seen it. There's 8 different live feeds watching this whole stage. Well, Colin Strober, who is one of the nicest people you ever meet, is running the mic, doing brackets, and helping James Reed, who is he's a gay man, but you would never know.
Wait. What's James Reed you talking about?
No, James Reed, the one that helps run these tournaments.
Okay, I'm Michelle's husband?
Yes, Michelle Dugan's husband.
He's not gay.
No. Colin, the guy on the mic.
Okay.
Yeah, Colin's on the mic.
Oh, he's gay. Okay.
Yeah, Colin's one of the nicest dudes you ever meet. Travis leans over the table, starts screaming, and calls me a fucking faggot. While Colin is like 10 feet away.
Now, nobody else is saying anything to him. Steve isn't saying anything to him. James, Paul.
Oh, yeah. Bart Wood's behind him. You can hear Bart say, whoa, stop. Steve comes over.
What about during this whole thing where he's fouling you? Nobody's saying.
No one says anything to him. No one says anything to him. Now the crowd is like, you can hear like little bits and pieces of Ryan grunting in the background. You can hear like the crowd saying stuff to Travis.
Right.
But like during this big like explosion, like it's bad enough me and Travis getting into it, but Travis, calling me that while Colin's sitting right there and then not shutting up. And then, like Travis knows who Colin is. You can't like 10 years ago, me and you calling each other that would have been like, oh yeah, man, whatever. Cool.
Different story. Yeah. It's different times now.
You can't do that shit.
Right. Different times now.
Not only that, Travis has so much pull different places with like his gyms like his kid playing football with all this shit in college. Like, Travis can't be calling people a fucking faggot on 8 different live streams when there's a gay man right there beside us, you know what I mean, on the mic.
Yeah. No, it doesn't fly today. Today.
No. And the thing is, like, he wouldn't shut up.
Yeah.
And like, I'm standing in the stands, and my wife, and like, I know you said you had Paul Talbot on earlier. Paul is one of my very, very good friends.
Yeah.
And Paul was on this side, and my wife was in front of me, and they were both saying, Zach, just calm down. He's not worth it. He's not worth it. Until he called me the fucking faggot. And they're both like, bets are off. Do what you got to do, Zach. Go ahead. I started walking towards the stage, and Travis is saying, you know, he's like, I'll fucking tear you in half. Come up here. And
That's the part I saw. Yeah. Okay.
And I literally stopped and I said, well, come off the stage. And he's like, no. And I said, Travis, come off the stage. I'm not coming up there. He wanted me to come up on the stage in front of everybody. So, you know, people can run up, break it up, and Travis can look like the tough guy in front of 1,000 people.
Now, does he know your background?
I don't think so. Like, I don't think he has any clue. Now, we've talked numerous times prior, but we've never gotten into it. So I don't think he realizes what could have happened. He thinks because he's big that he's automatically tough and he's got a big mouth.
Mm.
That's where
which, as we said before, is not usually the case.
Yeah, and I've known Travis for a long time, and I've known people that's known Travis for 30 years. No one's ever seen Travis fight.
Yeah.
No one's ever seen him fight. He doesn't have a wrestling background. Like, I've wrestled Division I. He's standing on a 6-inch platform. I'm already short. So his center of gravity is already super high.
Right.
So he walks over to me, bad things are going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not even the point. The point is, Travis acting like that in front of all those cameras and all those people made himself look like an idiot.
Mm-hmm.
I realized my emotions got the best of me whenever I got fouled out.
But it doesn't sound like that. It doesn't sound like your emotions got the best. It sounds like you were just pushed to the point of no return. There's a difference. There's a big difference between your emotions getting the best of you and, okay, I've had enough. There's a big difference.
And that's what happened. And Travis did what he did best. He got under my skin. He pushed my buttons. And I ultimately think that he was trying to get me to lose my temper a little bit. But, I mean, it worked. But I walked away. And I tried to stop it. And that's why I walked up. I gave Steve Black a hug. I apologized to him. And I even apologized to Travis. I gave John and Oski a hug. I even went over, and even though it wasn't me, I apologized to Colin because Travis Colin, like, saying that in front of Colin was uncalled for. And you could tell Colin was like, he was disgusted.
Yeah.
And like, that's the problem. Travis never even went over and said anything to Colin, but like, he reffed like 2 more classes and then he bolted. Like, I don't know if someone said something to him, but he rolled out. And that's the problem.
Well, a couple of things. From what you're telling me, you were obviously the better man.
I mean, I had probably 30 people tell me that, but it was
it bothers you because it tests your manhood. I know exactly where you're coming from. I've been in positions. No, I don't have a great fighting background, but when you come from a blue collar background, as we do, and your manhood is tested, it bothers you. And I've had situations where I controlled myself and I controlled my emotions, but there's that part of you that's like, I should have kicked the shit out of him, right? There's that's
where I'm at. Yeah.
Right. I know exactly where you come from. Any man who has any backbone knows you did the right thing, but internally it bothers you because it's testing your manhood. I know exactly where you're coming from. But a couple of things. Okay. I doubt Travis will watch this. And if he does and he wants to come on and give his side of the story, he's more than welcome to. I doubt he will.
Good luck with that.
I know.
Good luck with that.
Yeah, I doubt he will for several reasons. When I first started interviewing arm wrestlers, I wanted to get the most popular guys on, and I was able to get Monster Michael Todd on, and he seemed like a great guy. Didn't ask for a dime.
Also very good dude. Yes.
Yeah, great. Didn't ask for a dime. No problem. You got it. And then when I started questioning about Travis, I had a couple of people tell me he's going to want to get paid, and he's going to want to get paid a lot of money.
He will. Listen, he doesn't do anything without his face on camera without something that helps benefit him.
Now, yeah. Okay. Now I get everybody has to make a living. I get it. No, I get it. But if you are guys like us, where you have, where I'm a small podcast, and where you even though you're from PA and I'm from New York originally, the backgrounds are similar because it's a blue collar background. The family upbringing is a little bit similar. Just because my grandparents didn't speak English, it's the same blue collar, don't take shit off anybody, work hard, traditional background, right? So you understand that a small podcast can't afford to do that, and plus you're a hardworking dude, and it's not always about money. And 98% of the people that come on understand that. And then you have somebody like. And I've never had the privilege of meeting Travis. I never did. I saw him a couple of times, never met him, so on and so forth. So he's obviously about the money, which, okay, I get it. I understand. The one thing that kind of bothers me about this whole thing is we named two people that run this tournament, and they're two really good people. So it's Paul Lynn and James Reed. I don't know.
Listen, two of my favorite people.
Yeah. I mean, I'm talking like they've gone above and beyond helping me getting people on this podcast. So much so that I'll be like, hey, well, now I go to Ryan. Ryan Groden is another guy that helps me out. But so much so that I'll be like, Zach Lee, is he a good guy to have on my podcast? And I'll reach out to Paul. I'll reach out to James or even Michelle, and they'll be like, oh yeah, he's good, have him on, he's been around a long time, knows what he's doing, whatever, blah blah. Or they'll be like, nah, skip that one, and they'll recommend somebody else, whatever. So they've helped me. Why would you want to go to somebody who has such a great reputation and puts on such a good tournament and does so much for that community and ruin it? And just ruin it, right?
See,
that's what I don't understand about Travis. Now, again, I never had him on. I never spoke to him. I don't know. I mean, I know you now. We're going on your side of the story. I don't understand why somebody like that, who knows these people and knows what great people are and what they do for the community of arm wrestling, why they would want to ruin the tournament like that. That part I don't get.
Travis doesn't care. Travis only cares about himself. And listen, I personally talked to Paul and James, and they're like, I'm not going to speak for them, but you just said it. They're very good people. And just from talking about them, you know how they feel about it.
Okay.
You know what I mean? I don't want to speak for them. I don't want to put words in their mouth, because I love James and I love Paul. They're great people. I love Michelle. They're great.
Oh, yeah.
But just
Michelle's
by talking
fantastic.
about them, you know how they feel about it.
Mm-hmm. So is it
like I said,
is it going to be good? And Travis doesn't care. So is it going to be safe to say that it's going to be water under the bridge, or you won't see him at Keystone anymore?
I don't think it's going to be water under the bridge because of what he said. Now they do that. I think personally they're going to say something to him, but it's not going to be like a public thing.
Yeah.
And
right,
Travis is going to blow it off and be like, fuck this, fuck that. Fuck Zach Lee, blah, blah, blah. He's a nobody. Well, the problem is Travis used to be somebody, and he used to be the man.
Well, that's my next. That was going to be my next question. So go ahead. I'll get to that. So go ahead, keep going.
He used to be somebody.
Right.
But he's irrelevant now. So now, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, Travis used to be the man, but he's not anymore. So therefore, Travis, the only way that he can be relevant is if he gets in front of a camera and makes a show and makes himself, whether it's a good guy, an asshole, in between, or all of them put together. So therefore, he doesn't care what people think as long as they see him in general. Whether it's good publicity, bad publicity, just as long as someone says his name, Travis, that's the only thing he cares about.
Mm-hmm. You see, I think you're right. It looks like the guys that he came up with in that group of guys, it seems like there are guys that surpassed him. And
all of them. And they're all around today. And
he should be in that mix.
Yes. So everybody that he grew up pulling with, everybody that they're all still pulling. And if they're not pulling, they're still promoting, and they're all still good dudes. He's the only one left behind that isn't doing something. And listen, as much as I dislike Travis now, because I lost all the respect for him now, as much as I dislike him and lost respect, if he took it serious and he hunkered down, that man could still shake up the list and be top 5 North America and be probably top 20 in probably the world. But he doesn't have that motivation. If he got that motivation one day, he probably could. Listen, let's face it. He could still be one of the best. If he's still young, he's by far not old.
Right.
But
right.
He don't want it no more. He don't want it.
Yeah. But yeah. Again. I never had the privilege of meeting him. I don't know much about arm wrestling. I don't know much more about the details of arm wrestling. But it seems like you and I have the same opinion when it comes. Right before I even interviewed you, I had my opinion on what happened, and it seems like it's accurate just from speaking to you. And like I said, I don't know him. I don't know his side of the story. I doubt I'll even see this. He should be one of the guys going to Dubai today.
I mean, like the situation,
because you're talking about guys that have surpassed, Marcio Barbosa, Paul Lynn, Matt Mask, all those guys did the East versus West. And
I mean, you could throw in tons of people.
And it sounds like he should be in that mix if he would have put, he should be.
There's lots of guys making money right now that Travis isn't, and he's salty. You got John Berzink, you got Ron Bath, you got Paul Lynn, Marcio, Todd Hutchings, even Cobra's still in there. Alan Fisher's still in there. All these guys that Travis grew up with are still pulling, and he's not. So, like I said, anytime he gets in the camera, and what you just touched on, same thing my wife said and Paul said, the situation between me and Travis, yes, I'm over it, but it did eat at my ego a little bit because I'm not used to that. Mm-hmm. Like normally when something like that happens, it's on. Like I tell my inmates the same thing. Like, we're good. I go to work for 8 hours. I come in, don't do nothing stupid in front of me. Basically, don't make me be a cop.
Right.
And we can go home. We're good to go. That's another thing. Like Travis thinks that people are afraid of him, especially me. I go to work with 1,600 inmates every day that are twice the size of Travis. If he thinks for 1 second that Travis makes me nervous, He is very mistaken. And that's why but he never left the stage. And I know I was the bigger man, but it bothered me. It just bothered me. But respect to him for staying up there and not getting his ass kicked out on camera. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, it sounds like he knows how to manipulate. And once again, I want to preface this just in case he does see this, but I doubt he will. I don't know the guy. I never met the guy. I'm just going on hearsay. I'm going on reputation, and I'm going on what you're saying, and I'm going on what other people have said. Right. So I'm not. This is good. Paul. Go ahead.
I understand you're saying that, but another thing these guys have to understand, especially the refs. Listen, when Bart Wood took over the left-handed classes, it went so smooth. I'm sure, you'll see it. There was not a hiccup. There was not a foul. It was so great. What these referees don't understand, which Paul and James Reed, they get, we spend hundreds, some of us thousands of dollars a year to go to these tournaments to arm wrestle. The referees should not be able to dictate how we win an arm wrestle match. Steve Black, wonderful job. He just wants to see pulling. Engen Terzi, listen, he sits over there with a clipboard. If something goes wrong, he wants you to keep pulling. We spend so much money as pullers. Me and Black Ice talked about this. We spend so much money. These referees don't care. And I'm not saying all of them, But, you know, like I've spent easily, oh man, thousands of dollars on sporting Travis, but Travis don't care. And nothing, you know, I don't want to keep bashing on him because listen, at the end of the day, he makes money. He's good at it. And I love the arm wrestling community. And I'm glad I didn't do anything physical with him because there was kids there. There was family there.
Right.
My wife was there.
You made the right choice.
Yeah. My best friends were there. A lot of people that are not blood related, but I consider family. You know, I'm glad it didn't happen, but it sucks at the same time because like you said, it hurts a little bit being raised like that.
Yeah, no, I know exactly. I've had situations where I know I made the right choice, but inside it's still to this day, I'm like, here's the thing. And if he's as sharp and as manipulative, he's going to know the person he could do this to and not do this to. Yeah. Sooner or later, you're going to come across somebody that doesn't give a shit.
Yeah.
And they're out there. They're out there.
Yeah.
They're out there. Like, you know, like the guy we were talking about just before, the Eric Olsons of the world, you know, he's not going to care.
No.
Yeah.
I'm also sure you probably know Big Paul Cruz too from New York.
Sounds really familiar.
He arm wrestles in New York, and Paul is a great dude. And Paul is just like a big version of me, but super nice.
I gotta see if I can contact him. Go ahead.
Yeah, Paul was a great dude. Travis don't say a word to him because he's a big guy, and Paul has a great attitude. But if you make Paul mad, he'll just hit you. He don't care. And he's a very large individual, and he's a great person. But don't get him there.
Yeah, and there were guys like that, and you've been around too, so you'll know exactly. I don't know this Paul Cruz. Maybe if I see him, he probably doesn't do. He probably doesn't do when he's angry. He probably doesn't do much shouting.
No, he's like a psycho calm. Like he'll like.
Yeah, I know exactly.
Know he's mad, and he's coming like. Right at you. Yeah.
There's not much shout. And those are the guys that you're like, all right. Like, do you remember when Mike Tyson used to come to the ring? Used to walk to the ring. And there was no talk. Before he even went to jail, there was no music.
No, he just walked straight in. He wouldn't dap nobody up. He'd walk straight in. Tunnel vision.
And it's that kind of guy that you're like, you have to worry about. The guy screaming and carrying on and blah, 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 blah. Like a Travis kind of guy. That's the kind of guy that's like, if you've been around like somebody like yourself, you know exactly what's going on.
Yeah, I fought for a long time, and my dad always told me the guy with the biggest mouth is the biggest. You don't have to worry about him.
Yeah,
you know, like I don't for my fights. I never took pre-workout. I never listened to no music.
Right.
Like I never did. Like for my wrestling matches, all I did was go over and talk to my dad. He'd slap me on the shoulder and say, you know what to do. He never gave me no like advice. He just say, get out, do what you got to do. And it was over.
Yeah.
Same thing. He still comes to some of my big arm wrestling matches. He stands in the corner. He don't yell. I don't get pumped up. I don't like, he comes over and he'll smack me on the shoulder and say, that's it.
Yeah. Legitimate tough guys. The majority of them don't yell and scream. There's and I'm talking like legitimate. I'm not talking about like, you know, a guy who, who gets pissed off as a regular dude, but the guy who's been around the block, the guy who's did, 3 to 5 years in jail, the guy who was a former 1% biker, the guy who has the MMA background, the legitimate tough guys. First of all,
I see him every day. I see him every day in prison.
Yeah, they're not the guys screaming.
I see the guys at the table all by themselves. Those are the guys I usually watch because I know they're the quiet ones. And then I see the 30 or 40 that are yelling, and those are the ones I really don't care about.
Yeah,
because they always tell me they're like, Lee, we know if you yell, it's bad. Because they're like, if you're quiet and you don't say too much, like there's not really an issue. But if you get mad, it's bad.
Yeah. Well, listen, I hope for his sake that he could turn it around. I'm talking about Travis, because he is talented at the table, and he is talented. And he is talented on the microphone. I went to the I went to the I went to the Olympia this year, and he was the MC for the arm wrestling.
Yes,
and he was great.
Yes,
he was really.
That's the thing. He has so much that he could do. Like as far like his son is an amazing football player. Like all his kids are actually really good athletes. His wife Kate is very, 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 very nice. She is very nice. Travis, like I said, off camera, he's one of the nicest people you ever meet. But like, I don't know what happened. Like, it wasn't just me that day. Like, he targeted me a little bit, and got under my skin. But he was doing stuff to other people too that I let them come forward as well. But like, he was trying to foul out a lot of people, and I don't know if it was just something was wrong with him that day. But if he wanted to, like his promoting skills, the ways he can make money with his gym, he's very smart. Like he can make money without doing physical work and having a job.
Right.
Me, I wish I could do it, so I didn't have to go to work every day. Yeah.
Listen, join the club. You and me both, man. You know, it's the goddamn. That's why I'm trying to do this. I ain't making a dime yet.
I mean, I don't blame you one bit, man. Trust me.
So what's in the future for Zach Lee? Where are you going to compete next?
I have a bunch of big super matches coming up this summer and this fall. I'm pulling in August for the left and right hand PAF 180 title belts in North Carolina. So I got those two. I just got offered a fatal four-way title match in July. I don't know if I'm going to take it, though. It's me, Black Ice, Hanoski, and Cody Wood, but it's 165. I don't know if I want to cut any more weight. That sucks.
Yeah.
I cut weight all my life. I hate it.
I know. It does suck. Yeah, I hear you, brother. All right. Well, whatever you do, I'm sure you're going to be I'm sure you're going to do well at, you know, and so listen, man.
I'll be ready for sure.
Yeah. Listen, I really appreciate you coming on and talking about this.
Absolutely.
So much love, much respect to you, and all the best luck in the world. Whatever arm wrestling endeavors, whatever other endeavors you do in life, I wish you the best of luck, man. And we'll definitely keep in touch. And maybe we'll have you come on when you win one of those super matches. We'll have you come back on again.
Absolutely. Hey, make sure you send me that link too.
I am. As soon as we're done here, I'm going to send it to you.
Hey, nice talking to you, man.
Likewise, Zach. Thank you very much, man.
All right, buddy. Take care.
Later.